I'm 82 years old, and the hardest thing I've learned is this. You can love your children deeply and still raise them in a way you regret for the rest of your life. I'm sitting alone at my kitchen table as I record this. The same table where my kids once spilled milk and laughed too loud. The house is quiet now, too quiet. My hands shake more than they used to, not from age alone, but from memory. I've had a long life, a full one, people say. But when the nights stretch on and sleep won't come, 3 regrets return to me. Not about money, not about work, about how I raised my children, and what I didn't understand until it was too late. The past. I was born in 1943. By the time I became a father in the early 1970s, the world felt hard and unforgiving. My own father was a quiet man. He never said much. He worked with his hands, came home tired, ate dinner, and went to bed. Love wasn't something he talked about. It was something you proved by putting food on the table. So when I married my wife, Sarah, and we had our first child, Michael, I promised myself one thing. He would never worry about money. I worked long hours, 60, sometimes 70 hours a week. I left the house before sunrise, the air still cold, the radio murmuring news I barely heard. When I came home, Michael was often already asleep. Sarah would whisper, "He asked for you tonight." I'd nod and say, "I'll make it up to him this weekend." And I believed that. When our daughter Emily came along, the house got louder, more chaotic, more alive. I told myself I was doing everything right. College funds, a bigger house, a safer neighborhood. I thought being a good father meant being responsible, strong, unshakable. I didn't miss games on purpose. I missed them because I thought there would always be another one. I was confident, certain, proud, even. The turning point. It was 1985. Michael was 12. He had a school play. Sarah reminded me a week in advance. "Please," she said quietly, standing by the sink. "He really wants you there." I told her I'd try. That night, something came up at work, a problem only I could fix. At least that's what I told myself. I arrived home late, too late. Michael was sitting on the couch, still in his costume, face painted, eyes dry, but distant. "How was it?" I asked, hanging up my coat. He shrugged. "I forgot my lines, but Mom said I did okay." There was something in his voice, something small, breaking. I clapped his shoulder and said, "There will be more plays, champ." He nodded and went to his room. I remember thinking, good, crisis avoided. That night, lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling. A thought crossed my mind. Was that enough? I pushed it away. Morning came early. The consequences. Years passed the way they always do, quietly, quickly. Michael grew tall. Emily grew sharp and sarcastic in that teenage way. They stopped asking if I'd come to things. I didn't notice when it happened. By the time I did, it felt normal. When Michael left for college, we shook hands instead of hugging. I told him I was proud of him. He said, "Thanks, Dad." Polite, distant. Emily moved out a few years later. She hugged her mother longer than she hugged me. I told myself that was just how kids were. Then came the phone calls, short, infrequent. Holidays became tense, conversations shallow. I didn't understand why. After Sarah passed away, the silence became unbearable. I called Michael more often. He answered, but always sounded busy. One day, I asked him, "Did I do something wrong?" There was a pause, longer than it should have been. He said, "You did what you knew how to do." That hurt more than if he'd yelled. That night, I sat alone and finally let myself remember. The missed dinners, the games I never saw, the conversations I cut short. I thought providing was enough. I was wrong. The wisdom. Here's the first regret. I confused presence with provision. I thought love was measured in hours worked and bills paid. But children don't remember the overtime. They remember who sat beside them. The second regret came later. I didn't listen. I corrected. When Emily tried to tell me about her fears, I offered solutions. When Michael was angry, I told him to toughen up. I thought I was teaching strength, but what I was really teaching them was that their feelings were inconvenient. And the third regret, this one keeps me awake most nights. I waited too long to say the things that mattered. I'm proud of you. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I assumed there would always be time. Now my voice sounds old even to me, and those words feel heavier than they should. I see my children now. They're good people, kind, capable. But there's a distance I helped build, brick by brick, year by year. If I could go back, I wouldn't change my job, or the house, or the car. I'd change how often I sat on the floor, how often I listened without fixing, how often I chose them over being needed elsewhere. If you're still raising your children, please hear me. They don't need perfection. They need you, not later, not when things slow down. Now, I can't go back, but you can still show up differently tomorrow morning. If this story stayed with you, carry it forward. And if you want to hear more truths from someone who learned them too late, stay a while. Time is precious. Don't waste it like I did.